All departments, conduct your final safety checks and report back to the bridge. Engineering, confirm reactor status and warp core integrity.
Engine is ready. Fasten your seatbelts, Commander. Entering warp in 3, 2, 1.
The bridge is all yours, Commander. Welcome to the command deck.
Hello, welcome guys. Welcome to CommandDeck podcast again. Sorry, sometimes the sound is mixed in the background. So, hello, and let me check. Okay, here. Okay, tonight we have a lot to talk about well, mostly the town hall updates, and we have a special guest tonight. So we have Krigs from Hologram Network News. How are you, Krigs?
Hey, Klepper. I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. Glad to have you here. And we also have Drum Carlos. How are you?
Hello, everyone. How you guys doing?
Nice. We have Solas with us too. How are you?
Welcome, everybody. Good to be back. How's the chat doing? And ready to get into it.
Nice. And we also have Yoganat. How are you?
Hello. Happy Friday, everyone.
Welcome. And right now, just joining right now, we also have Grist. How are you, Grist?
Surviving. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you well.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to get hit by lightning. It's a crazy storm right now, but I made it in.
Cool. Right on time.
And we might have PG in a little bit, but the France-Portugal game is in extra time and it's about to go to penalties now, so I foresee some delays there.
Yeah, but well, we have time for him to join. No problem. And we have Shadix. Hey, not here with us, but on the chat. Hello, welcome Shadix, and welcome everybody watching right now. And we have Karlikovic also saying hi, fam. Good to you all. Oh, I'm getting blind already. My God.
PH.
Okay, so we had a lot of things to say in the town hall, but first of all, I would like to start asking Krigs, for example, about your general feeling from the town hall.
Hey, yeah, we're getting right into it. So obviously we all know that this town hall was one that many have been waiting for, I think, since the previous town hall, which I think was, in February? So, there's a lot of anticipation that was building up ahead of this town hall. Crew packs, if you look at the tweet, that we put out right before the town hall, I think the thing that most people were most excited about going into the town hall was crew packs and possibly some kind of announcement. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But, I do have some mixed feelings about the town hall. We got a lot of clarity on the roadmap for the rest of the year, which I think is great. It's 100% clear to me now what the strategy is from Automata going into the fall and really going into the next year and even 2026. And I think there's a lot to be excited about on the UE5 front, the gaming front, particularly in the goals of onboarding new users. On the other side, though, I know a lot of people are extremely disappointed in the possible and potential, or at least slight delay in crew pack announcements. And a lot of that's not seen in the main Startless Discord. But if your main focus right now is either Sage or Star based, and really the economic models, it kind of left a little bit to be desired from that town hall. So
Yeah, go on, Ron Carlos. Yeah, you wanted to say something. What do you think about it? What's your feeling about it?
I'm just crazy in the sense that we have mixed feelings because this town hall was advertised so much and hyped so much, and it was so long. It was 2.5 hours. Was it 2.5? Yeah, right.
2.5.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, I agree that we have a better idea of the nice things that are coming soon, but there's not really much immediate stuff. The only immediate stuff that I felt is great is the DAO actually starting this next Monday to function and our involvement with it. But in the other hand, we already, that was launched last year, so it's not that new. It's just that we're going to start to interact with it this Monday. Other than that, we have to wait a couple months until we have anything on our hands, and not much is going to change for those of us that are just playing Starbase.
So Shadix is saying Dom confirmed group packs won't be Q4, so worst case September. My bet is on beginning of August.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
see
was
Dom
kind of
confirming that, but that's cool. Thanks, Shadix.
I was kind of mixed feelings. So they did put a lot of cool stuff out, but I think they missed the mark. They didn't put out a single thing this week. I was hoping they would drop crew packs or something, which I know they're really trying to nail the whole crew pack PFP thing because that's what most crypto people invest in is a picture, and then maybe later on there's a game. Well, right now we have a game, and you can invest into the crew packs, but yeah, it was kind of a long hyped town hall, but nothing came out. So a lot of good info, a lot of good stuff they're working on. That's good. I just wish they put something out. But in their defense, they're going to have Vegas in August, and then they're going to have Breakpoint in September. So that's, I'm not going to beat them up too hard because they're going to have to put out a lot for Vegas and Breakpoint as well.
Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me
Go.
okay? It's pouring
Yeah.
here. I think I'm going to take... I was blown away, personally. Unlike all of you, honestly, I can't force myself to play the game. And that's shameful to say that, but that's just truth. So I just looked at on Epic, I have 152 hours in the showroom. It's fun. So I think maybe everyone was expecting something for the players now. What I took the town hall being is they are aiming for the only way we have a game, which is bringing in players, not investors. I'm not going to talk shit to any of you. I love you all, but just read the Discord as if you were someone 2 years from now that discovered the game and was just going back in time. It just seems like the focus is all on investment. And in gaming, it's the opposite. We burn our money because we love playing it so much, and it's important for us to stand out and be part of a community. And our skin is like our visual shibboleth or something like that. But I know everyone was upset. I wish crew packs would happen, but I was blown away. I think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Video
In my
was
case.
amazing.
Yeah. In my case, I have mixed feelings as most people, but not exactly for the same reasons, and partially because of what you just said, Chris. Because yeah, I understand your point. Players need a game. That's what players need and want. And yeah, the thing is, for me, it was an error or a fail in communication. I mean, I already commented that on the Mod Empire Discord, by the way. We are here from Mod Empire. And yeah, the thing is, if we get a hype about crew packs and something about fleet command, and then that's not coming soon, then we think or we feel like they don't deliver what they say, because that's getting a longer time from now than we expected, or maybe what they even said. Also, the R2.2 for the Unreal Engine 5 gameplay, that's not coming soon. They even deprecated the R2.2, and we're gonna go directly to Precision. So the thing is, that's not coming too early or very soon, and yeah, it feels like that. But on the other hand, I was rewatching the town hall and taking some more notes for this, besides the notes that Ron Carlos took for all of us. Thank you, Ron Carlos, by the way. And I saw some interesting things from a different perspective the second time. I mean, they are really focusing on what Grist is saying, and we also got some things added to what they are going to release together with Precision. Like, for example, Project Galia, which is the video that Solas was saying, and you were talking about also, Grist. And well, this Project Galia is supposed to come in Precision, sometime around Precision, and also the Surge or these shooter modes, okay, game modes. Also some upgraded flight model for the Unreal Engine 5 part, with physics based upgrade, taking into account gravity, ship stats, mass, the shape of the ships, feeling more realistic and unique to each ship. That's all supposed to come together with Precision. So I think they really have like big announcements, and also the DAO for this next week. But the thing is that they hyped the town hall from a weird perspective, in which we all expected the crew cards and other things. We didn't know anything about all this, so it was like it was like a contradiction, you know. It was like we expected something and we got completely different things. So mixed feelings for most of us. That's my opinion. How do you see it, Joganacht?
Well, I definitely like a good pre-town hall dance party. Those always get me going. That's just how it is for me. That said, I have to agree that the hype was a little bit, I think, misplaced. We wanted gameplay, right? We wanted, or the hype was about gameplay or crew. But that said, I think that to Grist's point, we did get some new information about gameplay. It was just gameplay later, not gameplay now, which I think was maybe the key distinction. And then, mixed with the feelings of people feeling dragged that, gameplay is always later. This was meant to be a gameplay now type of event. So I think there's some of that mixed in as well. But I think that for me, it's important that we got closer to, they did drop the DAO. It's coming on Monday. That gets us closer to the vision of players governing their own game. And Monday is a concrete step. It's a cornerstone in that foundation. We'll start setting out the rules for the DAO, how it's going to work. And, it's off to the races from there. We'll have some time before Breakpoint to see what happens out of that. I think it's going to be interesting.
And Solas, you were going to say something before.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, sorry. You have some delay, maybe. I didn't hear you. You were saying something, Krigs. Go on.
It's quite possibly. I have a pretty good delay out here, but no, Chris, Grist and Yoganaut drive home very good points, and I think what would help viewers understand is kind of the shift in Automata's perspective and really the understanding of the community. So where I think a lot of the overt frustration comes from is if you understand what and who the active Star Atlas community is right now, the ones who are actively participating, it is more of those investors and less of those gamers that Grist was mentioning. So a lot of the information that came out during the town hall was geared towards the audience that Automata wants and wants to build, and not the current audience. And I think that is why, actually, that is why I personally believe there's kind of a little bit of like bad aftertaste in the mouth of so many community members, is because we already knew that there was a feature freeze for Starbase, so really the only next thing coming is Crew, and so that's really what the current active community has to look forward to. But then there are people like Grist, like Icy, a lot of the UE5 oriented people who are very excited for the town hall. So it's not that I think that they are going in the wrong direction. I think we all understand that in order for Star Atlas to continue to grow, it isn't going to be on the backs of the current active community, and that might seem a little controversial to say. In fact, Michael Wagner has potentially acknowledged that himself, and that we need to grow outside of the current investor community and really focus on bringing in a broader gamer focused oriented community. And that's that is the strategy. That is 100% the strategy going into the fall and going into next year, because the community that is active right now is tapped dry. There's after 2.5 years, there's only so much more money that can be gained from there. So my only question, I guess my only perspective is the strategy is clear: onboard new gamers to the very high-end quality products. Just wait to see if that is a true success there.
That is very interesting, and there's a point that because we are so active in the community and we're here every day and we're grinding every day and we're waiting for news and checking the foundation room and checking the stuff. We're very aware of everything that's happening. But someone that is not as involved, these town halls are a great way to catch up. And if you're new, I can even imagine. But one thing that made me feel good is that you can see the advance, even though they are not delivering stuff right away. They started the meeting announcing new hirings, which is a big step compared to what was happening a year ago. Yeah, and the economic highlights are impressive. To talk about 34+ million GDP this year is insane. The fact that the game has a GDP the size of a small island nation, it's incredible. And yeah, I think it's just we are tired of announcements, but the truth is that the information was useful and help us plan for the rest of the year. So especially if you are a leader in the community and you're organizing teams of players and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree really with the point that you were saying about, well, some of you already. The thing is, yeah, we need players and we need gamers, and they're shifting in that direction instead of just or only investors. And I think that's a right way to go, the right way to go. But the thing, you just imagine that instead of hyping the crew cards and maybe fleet command and just talking about that and freezing Starbase, they said something before. Imagine if they said something before about maybe the DAO or the lending, because we haven't said too much about lending, but they also talked about the lending thing that they are creating, and they are already testing. And Wagner said that they just need to create or implement the UI, the user interface, because they are working with a third-party group. In general, they didn't say the name, but they already have a contract for that, for the lending program. So that's supposed to come really soon. And he said, hopefully this year. So that's another big thing. It's not coming right now, but we are in the summer. In the middle of the summer, maybe it's not also the best the best season to launch something. I think it's better after the summer. But what I mean is, if they had said something like that, different things, and then they do the same kind of town hall, just starting slowly, but then going into the Project Galia and lending and the DAO. if it's what we expect, and that's what they give, then they give us the feeling that they deliver what they say. But the thing is, they talked about crew cards, and most things were delayed and things like that. That's why I feel that we have mixed feelings. And also, lastly, just the crew cards. We were expecting crew cards, but really, are we gonna get any utility right now if they release it right now? I think most of it would be like just selling crew cards, and we're not gonna be using them already. So
Yeah, so did they mention they are building the lending model, or are they contracting that out? Because I know. Go ahead.
no, they said that they were working with a third party group.
There's a team working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the third party group already had a contract for the lending thing, and they just needed to implement the UI, the user interface.
Yeah,
That's gonna be huge.
I know they mentioned that, maybe the DAO, they use DAO funds, and then they would pay us back. They mentioned that way before. I didn't know if that's what was going on or not, but I don't think it did. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a controversial subject. Maybe we use some DAO funds to speed up maybe something. Like I would love to see Evi and Slide Tool incorporated into the game, and I don't think that would cost much at all. But
Lending is a huge topic, especially keeping in mind the small size player, which is going to be, at some point, it's going to be the larger segment of the community. The fact that they are working on it and we're going to have something this year regarding that is very good news, because there's a lot of people with a lot of assets that don't have the time to play, and there's a lot of players that don't have a lot of assets that need that. And as we start organizing teams and guilds, my biggest problem that I have with the way everything is being developed is that I think some basic things in the structure that we should have, like the dashboard for the profile, the player profile, and the DAX actually having some in-game function as in the sense of organization and teamwork. I think that would be something that you would need before having the lending platform, but we will see what they come out with, because it seems interesting, and I think it's going to change the mood for a lot of players.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a normal website where you just go and you see the offers from other people, and then you just say, okay, I wanna borrow this one, and you get it independently of your guild or DAC or anything else. So yeah, but I agree. We may need that structure that you say around the player profiles. But maybe we think about that because we already know and we are already in the community. But people coming from outside, maybe they don't really need the player profiles so much. Maybe they just want to come and say, okay, I want to see the ships available for renting, and okay, I want to play with this one, and this one, and that's it. So yeah, I understand your point, but maybe it's not so urgent. We will see how they implement that. Yeah, we'll see.
Did they mention a rent-to-own or like a layaway system almost for ships as well?
I think they did.
They did, but it was.
Go ahead, Krigs.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Sorry.
The delay is killing you.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Krigs.
Oh no, Chris was gonna say the same thing, but yeah, no. Michael did tease it, but it wasn't anything. It sounded like he was kind of speaking a little bit off the cuff on that, and that is a possibility. But I'm assuming that is going to have to go through a number of vetting and development still.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys, is my delay really bad right now?
No, it's not.
So what I wanted to say, the reason also we haven't mentioned yet, and again, I might have to go mute for a bit, but I'll still be here. Um, we got to factor in the wagering aspect. So off the rip, we could think about, like, imagine it's post breakpoint, and we have that VIP mode. Sounds fun. We have gun game. We have hopefully racing and combat racing. From the beginning, we can have a game that has wagering built in, not just between players and guilds to up the competitive nature of the modes, but for streamers, viewers. Right now, we're streaming a podcast. Just think of it next year where there'll be, maybe all the time, people on Twitch streaming the different modes. I feel like, well, this guy almost hit me, sorry. I know that everyone expected crew cards and all this. The way I looked at it is, right now we're a small little closed community, and in my gut, that town hall was for the future community. And if we don't reach those people, who knows how long this closed little community would last. And I know people don't want to hear that. That might not sound positive or whatever, but that's just my gut. I mean, they have a really, really, really fun game on their hands that I don't think anyone expected. And by leaning into that, I think that gets us to the next stage that allows people to slowly find out how deep and complicated this game is. And all of us here, people that have been here from the beginning, each guild they'll find a home, and all of us will be able to open up all the doors to Star Atlas for everyone. That's my take.
And they did announce that they are finally going to start a marketing campaign because we're approaching season 0. We're going to have the preseason that is more for the internal community, the OGs, the people that are here desperate to put their hands on at the end of the year. And I don't think they're going to have any other town hall before Breakpoint. And Breakpoint is going to be huge. This is going to be a turning point for Star Atlas. Not only because of the quality of product they are finally releasing out there, and what they're going to be able to showcase and have people go and play, and the spaces they have, and they also announced the Star Atlas conference, which is going to be excited. Like I wish I could go this year to Breakup Point because it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. But the fact that they are going to be turning where the marketing campaign is going to start, and they're actually going to start bringing people, because right now we cannot bring new people because we don't have a product to offer them, and then we're not going to be able to retain those people. But that's going to be huge. I think 2025 is going to be a great year. And for those, the market is favorable as we think it will. We could see a big change in the overall mood of the community.
Yeah. Virtual said biggest risk having people wager on games is people throwing matches. And in the sports community, these professional athletes are not supposed to gamble, or they have other people gamble for them, but they could be potentially barred from that sport if any funny business happens. So it is going to be interesting when esports and wagering comes online in Star Atlas, and how it's going to be regulated.
Yeah, the thing is, wagering and gaming is already a thing. So, Virtual pointed out that there's cheaters, people throw, maybe AI will help a different type of anti-cheat, we don't know. But wagering exists already right now in gaming. So why not have it where Web3 kind of is all the things that are the gray market or the fringes of Web2 gaming, Web3 will start with that. So I don't think everyone knows that people go and they wager. There's whole worlds of wager matches. I just think it's cool that we have that opportunity. And I think as a community, we'll figure out, if someone's cheating, then that person will never be able to wager again. But that's going to be something that would happen regardless. People probably still throw matches that we don't know about in professional sports, for bet.
Yeah, like the Gallia Cup, what I've been doing for a little bit. We were doing tournaments between guilds. We didn't have a game to play in Star Atlas, so we picked a few other games to play in that league, and it was guild versus guild or faction versus faction tournaments. And it was cool because we got a lot of cool sponsorships from HNN, from Andre's Fleet Share, from EDI.io, from Moon Dancer, all that. So we had great prizes for these tournaments, completely free for people to play and earn. But where these leagues could start going is a team entry fee, and that's where kind of like a poker system, like everybody pays to play, and then the top teams get something. It's gonna
Yeah,
be interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
a lot of different options regarding that. Yeah.
You're lagging now.
I think there's one key. Sorry for the lag there, but I think there's one key thing that Michael said that's pretty important, and that really to me indicates a change in the way they've thought, or maybe a different focus. I know I've kind of been like mixed reactions about the town hall, but don't get me wrong, I am excited about the future releases to come. In fact, that's why I joined Star Atlas in the very beginning, in the very first place, is a lot of the MMO aspects. Oh, by the way, this is my excited face. I just have pretty bad RBF. But yeah, so no, but there's one key thing that Michael said, and I'll paraphrase it a little bit, but it's essentially that people will just come into Star Atlas and they'll either rent a ship or have a ship or just jump into the game, right? You'll download it from Epic Store for free or whatever once it's open. You'll play and you won't even realize that there is NFTs or crypto involved unless you actually stumble upon those kinds of activities in the game. And then maybe that's your first exposure to crypto versus the way it's being onboarded now is, you kind of have to be already a crypto expert, and then you get into the game that way. Michael, in his last interview or podcast with the Honeyland folks, said, is it Web3 gaming or crypto gaming? And I think, as we progress and go into the future of UE5 and MMO gameplay for Star Atlas, I think it's just going to come down to gaming. I don't think any of those three adjectives are going to apply. It's just people are going to game and they're going to go to Epic Game Store and they're like, oh, there's this game called Star Atlas. It's a space MMO. And then they're just going to play and then somehow discover crypto, which I think is I think we all know is probably the inevitable strategy that's going to have to happen versus, Web3 onboarding through crypto.
Exactly. Yeah, and that goes together with what Don Carlos was saying. I wanted to just give the perspective again of the importance of the breakpoint. I think they learned from the past breakpoints that if you only show something that is not playable, not a game, like you show a video of gameplay, but people can't really go and play, especially if it's not ready or complete or with multiplayer or things like that. But people want to see something in Breakpoint and then say, okay, like you say, okay, I go to Epic Store and I can download it and play. And that's the way to get more players. If you just have, okay, you show some gameplay video, but it's not really usable, playable anywhere else, and you just have the Sage version in web page. That's when we only get the investors and not new players. So yeah, for me, I'm really excited today more than yesterday and more than the day of the town hall, because I'm like digesting these things and seeing the perspective from here till the end of the year. Of course, we're not getting these things next month, but they said pre-season for Breakpoint, around Breakpoint, and even some things like lending, maybe or hopefully this year. So things like Project Galia are supposed to be included in the same pre-season or around the same pre-season launch. So things like that for me are huge, and I don't see it like so far away. So I think that's really exciting, and yeah, that is becoming more important for me than the things that we were expecting, like crew. if crew is not going to be fully usable, for example, we're not going to be using the perks fully, then it's not playable. It's not really useful, and that's something like, okay, when can we finally use it? The perks, I mean. Okay, you can use your crew for crafting, like right now, but that's not the goal. Everybody wants the perks and so on, and getting experience and leveling them up and all that, and that when that comes, okay, that's good. But if it's not coming right now or soon, then for me it's not so useful. I really believe that they are doing the right move. The only thing for me is that the communication of everything before the town hall, in my opinion, was in the wrong way. I think they created hype around something and then they delivered something else. Maybe very, very interesting, or maybe even better than the rest of the things, but one thing and then another thing,
It was inadvertently misleading, maybe, for some people that were hoping for important announcement that, okay, we're going to get the crew, we're going to start buying them, we're going to start, gamble on the rarity and all that.
The ship financing. They said you could finance a ship and pretty much pay as you go, right? Or you could maybe potentially, let's say everybody's going to want a Titan now, potentially. So are they going to give you a Titan or a DAC, a Titan? And once that Titan's in game, it's going to be earning quite a bit of money, and you could pay off your ship with that money. So that's going to be a kind of interesting thing. And are people going to be doing that or buying the current marketplace ships? And is that going to affect the people's who's trying to sell a couple ships or products? What's all going to be affected on when this ship financing goes live. And then also there's a lot of ships on the sidelines still in Starbased, and let's just say a new DAC comes into Star Atlas and they have their own scholarship model they could kind of form from another Web3 game or something, because there's tons of scholarship models already around. If they could successfully make one in Star Atlas, maybe just a guild-wide one, do you think a lot of people would lend ships to that DAC, and you could have this DAC come out of nowhere to potentially maybe the top 3 guilds with the numbers they could start popping out and revenue generating and ship size? It's going to be interesting.
I put all my money that the lending is not going to be ready this year. I think that's a 2025 thing.
I think the same thing. Yeah. But anyway, it's better to hear that it may be this year, even if it's delayed a little bit, because if he says 2025, then maybe it goes to 2026. By the way, Karlikovic said, do you guys think lending program could help adoption in APAC, Asia, and so on, particularly Philippines or India, where play to earn is huge? What do you think?
Definitely. There's a large community to tap there. Yeah. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, I know Michael wants to tap pretty significantly into that community for more pay-to-earn narratives, like Karlikovic said, but it'll have to be to see how that becomes sustainable and how the economy evolves to absorb that kind of economic gameplay loop or class of citizen, because as we all know, right, the current star-based economy is very, very favored by whales and people with high assets and a lot of that stuff. So there'll have to be some kind of implementation, more thought out economic processes to not only provide pathways and opportunities for the rental program itself, but for the execution and implementation of people renting ships to then earn successfully in the game And then safeguards, in my mind, that I think is even the more important is avenues to avoid economic exploitation of some of these folks who are renting.
Yeah, a lot of different things they will have to adjust in the economy, as you say. Yeah, but I think it's going to be huge for everybody. But yeah, maybe especially for those communities.
Yeah, it's
Jonan.
there's a lot of communities that are going to be benefited by that lending mechanism. In Latin America, especially, also, there's a lot of players with a lot of energy and a lot of will to play the game that they may not have the means because, as the income levels are so different across the world, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge because there's a lot of people with too many assets.
Yeah, I think if Star Atlas could make right now, free-to-play games freemium has a bit of a sour taste in the gaming, unless it's sort of what you do. There's a bit of a divide there. There's our mobile exclusive gamers. But if Star Atlas can sort of crack turning freemium or free-to-play into a play-to-earn experience, I think that is a golden ticket for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that goes together, the lending with the gameplay, and also with one thing that I think Wagner talked about in the town hall. Somebody talked about it in the town hall, and it was I think Wagner the the way they want to do the game, like based on Unreal Engine 5, but delivering it maybe from different perspectives. Like you can maybe use it from the cloud gaming or pixel streaming technology, so that they want to reach every gadget, like phones, tablet, or even if you don't have a computer, maybe you have a computer but not a gaming computer, but they want to do it in that way. So that together with lending, I think, yeah, they are really thinking about those communities. They don't have a gaming computer, they don't have a big budget, so what can we do to show the way to play this game in a cheaper way? Yeah.
Tarin Greystone in chat is bringing a very good point about this, which is that the DACs are going to be very benefited by this system, because now the DACs can have a large fleet and lend to their members. And this is a perfect way to organize and to simplify that lending process. That is you're just not going to random people. You want to go to your group and the people you bond with in your DACs and in your guilds. And that's going to be great for them, for all of us.
For sure. Yeah. And one important thing about this, just think about the time that we are dedicating right now to talk about lending. And this in the town hall was, I think, at most 10 minutes, 2.5 hours of a town hall. And when they had two more topics to talk about, they said, okay, we're gonna go very very quickly on this one, and then we talk about the last one, which was the DAO, but very quickly about the lending. I think this is huge. We are talking about it right now for longer than what they talked about in about it in the town hall. It's amazing. I don't know. So yeah, I think a focus problem there. I would focus more on different things, but well, in the end, I think the content was very good, just in a different perspective that we expected. But a lot of
one thing we know for sure, June 8th, 2024, which is next Monday, is the first step on decentralization of the project, on the decentralization utopia, right? Because it's this amazing idea that the project belongs to everyone, and we all have, we all forge the destiny of the project, which is an utopia that we haven't seen yet, just the promise of it. I think decentralization right now, we're not there yet, but the fact that Monday we're going to start reviewing the first 4 peeps, the first 4 how do you call that, proposals. for proposals, which basically just define the infrastructure and the groups within that. And then from there, we're going to elect a council, which is going to be huge. This is the first real application of the Polis token, which is the governance token of the project. This is all huge. And again, because we are here day in and day out, we know these things. But I think that was a great announcement. And next Monday, things are going to change in Star Atlas and in the Star Atlas community. The Discord of Star Atlas is going to change, and it's going to have this new section where everyone that has Polis stake is going to be able to come and discuss and propose things. And I think great ideas are going to come out of that. And we have a lot of money locked in that vault that can help speed the project, as Wagner has hinted it before. Like, if there's a section that they are not ready to develop themselves because they are stretched thin, we could decide to grab a part of those funds and approve that the team hires another team to help us develop faster. And as the time goes on, that's gonna speed up the process. And the economic part, when they went into it, the numbers are great. The fact I had no idea that between Q1 and Q2 of this year, we grew more than 6%. I thought that Starbase was being played by less people than, and probably is less people than labs, but still generating a lot more. So this is all great news, and I can't wait for Monday and start getting involved with that.
Yeah. I have an slightly different and interesting take on that. I think it is impressive that the GDP did grow from Q1 to Q2, but it is also slightly concerning that it is done on the backs of whales who've consolidated a lot more wealth in that time period as well, who are driving that GDP. Ideally, you want your GDP driven across a broader spectrum and not kind of your high-enders. Of course, high-enders are going to lead the way in that GDP production, but it is a little bit of at least in my mind, not a total elation and, just a representative of the current Star Atlas economy. But yeah, like you said, Carlos, big news on the DAO coming up on Monday.
And if you remember, a year ago, we were talking about, like, are they going to be able to pull it off? Do we have enough runway to finish the project? And now we're like, oh, they are selling too many Titan ships. Like, it's insane what we're talking about this summer compared to what the conversation was a year ago, when the market was on the floor, when they were firing people from the team and reducing it and redirecting the thing. I think, again, because we're here day in and day out, we don't realize the progress that has been made and the promise of what is to come.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I am glad that Dan is back for sure. Welcome back, Dan.
Absolutely, man. He's a legend.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. The DAO is going to change a lot of things, and it's a huge step. And a lot of people were really asking for it for a long time. But yeah, it kind of, it was like a big surprise. They kept it like a secret for the town hall, and then I think since it was since the beginning of the town hall until that point, we all were like getting the feeling, these mixed feelings that, oh, this is delayed, the crew cards are not being released, no big launches, and then at the end we get that release, and it was like, it's not changing 2 hours of bad feeling or mixed feelings, But the thing is, yeah, it's huge. And my question right now for you guys is, what do you expect at the beginning of the DAO and the votes and the discussions? Because I think it's going to be a little chaos at the beginning, especially everything starts like being more chaotic, of course, and then it kind of finds the way to get more organized and work in a better way. But what do you think about this kind of 4 first proposals that they talked about? I don't remember each of them, but I remember that some things were about the foundation, the
Yeah,
basic
we have
rules.
four. We have four. The PIP number one is going to be pretty much defining how the DAO will work and the procedures and how the votes are work and the proposals and the discussions and everything. Then we have the PIP number two. It ratifies the foundation of the Star Atlas, the Star Atlas Foundation, which I guess is the entity that represents the team in the development of the game. The PIP 3 is going to be related to the council elections, which we're going to have a council composed by some members of the community, 5 of them, that will help define that representation of the community into the whole process. And then the final is the Star Atlas Ecosystem Foundation, which I have no idea what's the difference between that and the one mentioned in PIP 2.
So what do you think about the first moments? Regarding these fundamental basics, the rules, the foundations, and all that, and the discussions that.
Improvement proposals.
What do you think, Krigs?
I'll just offer one point of clarification. So for PIP 2, that is for the Star Atlas Foundation, which is the legal entity that represents the DAO that is based in the Caymans. They don't necessarily represent Automata as a developer. That is for the DAO and two separate distinct entities. The difference with PIP 4 is that the economic fund is the kind of what we've all discussed earlier and how we could use and spend money from the DAO to enhance projects that are third-party developed or Michael talked about funding hackathons or this is where money that could be used to incorporate things like SLY or EVI. That's what the PIP 4 is about, is establishing the rules, regulations, and procedures for that. So just a point of clarification for those that are watching on that. Cool. I agree, Kepler, that it's going to be probably a little bit chaotic in discussion. I know some folks are bummed that everything is not on chain. I personally don't think that it all needs to be on chain, at least on the discussion part. And I'm also, you probably, skeptic or realist Krigs. And Dan Park even mentioned this during the town hall is, across all crypto literature right now, there really hasn't been a good or great example of a successful DAO that manages such a broad scope, right? If your scope is so broad that your DAO can't govern it, then it's an ineffective DAO. And so really, the way I view DAOs is kind of almost how democracy was viewed in the early 1700s. And so, we're kind of in this exploration and experimental phase, and TBD on how it's going to get implemented. Obviously, we have PIPs coming up, but it's up to students of history, students of science, and all kinds of mechanisms to really have thoughtful discussions on how these new governance systems really are going to work and be successful.
Yeah, and Yonact, what do you think about that? I have the feeling that Yonact is so diplomatic that he doesn't want to talk too much, but I have to pull a little. Come on, Yonact.
Yeah, so the team spoke. We got a lot of information from the team about a year ago about all this, right? That's when they opened up the governance channel and started having discussions about the PIPs. We got PIP X and all the discussion around that. I think that the reason I'm sort of quiet on this now is that I'm expecting some new information and maybe some new approaches to the PIPs. And the team didn't really go into, they said that what the PIPs are is like their title, but they didn't really go into the substance of each one. So I think there might be some new things that we learn, maybe, and then subsequently some new ideas from the community. It's been a year. Maybe some people have some new ideas that they're going to be talking about when the platform is available. So I think it's going to be fascinating. If you're a poli-sci professor, this is a dream come true for you.
What? Political science?
Well, this is the start of the politic careers in Star Atlas, because we're going to start seeing a little bit more involvement in that. I'm excited about what the DAO can mean for the Polis token. If you add little bit of market bull run on there. That's something that a lot of people have been very unsatisfied about, is the progression of the tokens, Atlas and Polis, and their value, and they feel that the team is not doing enough to keep the value at a good level. And I think it's too early to think about that. And I disagree with that view, because this game doesn't exist yet. We are testers right now. 2025, that's going to be a different conversation.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what about the? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
What about the faction leader thing? That doesn't make. That's just a random drawing, and then you get a one-of-one ship, and then you're voted in as faction leader. Is that what they were saying?
No. Come on, Krigs. I think you know how it works, more or less.
Off the top of my head here is, you'll get your crew, and you'll have to assemble at least 5 crew across all of the rarity tiers of that particular faction race. And then you enter those 5 crew into a quote unquote raffle, or at least to me, it sounded like a burn mechanic, where then in exchange you receive a raffle ticket, and then kind of like the golden ticket or golden carnival. And then, of those raffle tickets, a single winner is drawn, and that winner receives the faction leader crew card, which has a unique perks. But I think, there's some lore in there that separates the faction leader from having, council or political power. There was nothing that was mentioned that the faction leader had significant political power, other than they have access to the T5 hab and the one-of-one mystical spaceship.
Yeah,
Is it possible
exactly.
for one wallet to have all 3 faction leaders?
I think they didn't clarify that point, right?
I
Don't
think one
remember.
wallet has to be confirmed with that faction, just like in your profile, Star Atlas profile, you have to pick a faction. So
Maybe.
I don't
Yeah,
see
you can be
how
active in the game.
I don't see how
Yeah.
you could get a different faction.
Yeah, Krigs, did you hear, or are we sure that it's like a burn mechanic? I think I don't remember them saying that you would be burning your 5 crew different tiers to get the new one. Did they say it would be burned?
Yeah, I don't think they explicitly said, but we're talking about a raffle, right? There has to be some cost of entry other than just assembling the crew. So I think that is a point of clarification we can get. I'm not gonna. I'll be honest. I kind of, because the town hall was so long, I think I blacked out during that moment.
No, it's okay.
Chat
It
tends
was.
to be-
I thought
A
it was
lot of
me not listening 100% focused.
And if I remember well, that system is only for the first year, and after that, it's going to be a different automated way. But I might be wrong.
I started drinking at the beginning of the town hall, but it was 2.5 hours long. So I started fading a little bit.
We need to get together someday. Yeah, and get a party going during a town hall.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if they would burn the crew member. Because that's a lot to burn. But yeah, it's interesting. Maybe a staking or lock mechanism or something. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It doesn't really hold much power besides the ship. Maybe you're going to be in the history books in Star Atlas, the Empires of Atlas or Gallia or whatever it is. But then some epic parties in the CSS, which I think would be fun. It'd be fun to do a crazy event like Surge, get a bunch of people in that hab and cut loose.
I doubt people are going to be burning like 5 legendary crews and all that. And also you get an anomaly crew with that appointment, right? If you are the faction leader, which is only one person on each faction, so it's going to be just 3 of these lucky individuals. I doubt they're going to have to burn so many crew members, because that's I don't know, that's tough.
Yeah,
The raffle seemed like a carrot to get you to buy more crew to me, and just hoard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
they add a kind of fee to participate. Like if you want to get it like a cost, an entry cost, maybe they add a fee or something. But yeah,
well,
I
It's not
think
well,
like
my
they
Dragoni
question,
would be
Road.
selling.
well, my question is that one ship? Is that respawn cooldown like 5 minutes, or do we know? If you take it in the, I mean, if you take it in the HRZ, is it just like a quick cooldown or not?
Uh,
I know
no idea.
everything transfers a year later, I believe. So you'll get to keep the faction leader crew NFT, but it kind of loses its perks. So the ship and the hab will go to the next year winner. And Virtual's saying in the chat, Bunty
Yeah.
has confirmed that one wallet could three out of three. I can't talk today. Get all three cards, and
Wait, one
that's
wallet?
yeah, that's concerning for me. But
Yeah.
Oh,
But
whoa.
if it has no political power, well, it's just the
That
like
would be really
having a
bad.
picture.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people would be frustrated if there was one whale with more
Yeah.
than one.
But wouldn't after that, isn't it a actual, won't it have power later on? Isn't it just to introduce it and then we're voting for the faction leader later on? Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
no,
There's too much speculation in this. I'm more
Yeah.
Yeah.
interested of the PG mentioned like made a really good question. Do you guys think combat will arrive with Fleet Command?
I think it's
So that's
gonna
going to be a
be.
huge change.
I
That's what
think it's
we're
gonna
all
be a long
waiting
time.
for. Yeah,
I
that's
think
that's
it's
what we're
gonna be
all
a long
waiting for.
time,
Combat.
Yeah, I agree, Kepler. I think it's gonna be a while.
especially because during
Yeah,
the
it's
whole town
almost
hall they didn't say too much about that. Go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
sometimes they surprise us. The difference between escape velocity and labs, it's huge, and it was just a month or two away.
Yeah, but you have several things that confirm essentially combat won't come out until Starbase, right? You have the feature freeze that they announced 2 weeks ago that they're not making any changes to Starbase until Fleet Command is released, right? And there's been no discussion on combat. Fleet Command is supposed to come out sometime later this year, and really the only feature release that they're going to implement between now and Fleet Command is the crew packs and crew modules. It's the only release that they've got between now and Fleet Command. So it's without them saying explicitly combat's coming after Starbase. All the information that they've released thus far in the past few weeks have indicated that combat won't come out before Fleet Command.
Yeah,
A little
during the
theory
town hall.
crafting. No,
Sorry,
go
just
ahead, Kep.
oh, I was just going to say that during the town hall they said like a couple of times what was going to be included in precision, and they didn't say anything about combat. So precision and also season 0. So I mean, they in season 0 they said combat racing, but they didn't say anything about combat. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a long time. And we have some comments on the chat. Sorry, Chris, go ahead and then I read the comments.
No, what I was gonna say is I think a little theory crafting is maybe the whole combat and Sage and Fleet Command is kind of pushed out, and so the competitive kind of like calling each other out in this 1v1, that will be like the instance lobby modes to get that kind of what people mean when they want to destroy, have that kind of sweaty gameplay. Maybe that kind of pivots to the UE5, and then they keep Sage as like a way to allow early people to earn, and then eventually kind of allow that Sage community to begin to supply the UE5 people, like with how to make skins and stuff, and kind of like push back the eventual massive wars and all this stuff that's already happening now from happening as long as possible. That's just a little theory crafting.
Hmm.
there's so much I just want to figure out and clarify sooner than later. It just feels like everything they are putting out is faction versus faction versus faction. It's definitely not like an Eve online guild ran game. You know, EVE Online, you can still do faction warfare, but mostly it's guild or DAC or corp ran. Everything I see with the current Star Atlas reminds me of maybe like World of Warcraft, Alliance versus Horde, and you have guilds within that faction. So everything I keep seeing, it keeps on hinting they're trying to get away from this multi-faction
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that is troubling since the club and several others are multi-faction, but we can still adjust. But it's interesting. Like even any race could be a faction. How is
Yeah.
that going to work? They said before, you would have to lose your faction's rep to get like Ecos rep, for example. um are you gonna have to be like, let's just say I'm an Oni and I want to become a mud faction? Do I have to lose Oni rep and work my way up to mud, or am I just going to be an Oni alien in the mud faction from the get-go? There's just so much I want to clear up, like figure out, and I wish we could get a somewhat straightforward answer. But yeah, the whole multi-faction chat is getting troubling for those guilds.
I think this is a point of common confusion between races and faction, and they are not the same. Faction is an area in the map, and you can be any race in that faction. And we as players, we are not one character. We are fleets and we are assets. We don't have a main character that is Oni, I think, because you have your crew and you may have one that is the highest rarity and you may use that as your flag. But I think the race versus area is a good conversation, and it's a little more clarification. But as far as I understand it, it's not the same.
Yeah, they said a lot of times that it was different thing, and they even said explicitly that any race can be mod, for example, or any race can be Oni, or any race can be Ustor. But then they keep on like mixing things and talking about mod like humans and Ustor like robots and so on. It's getting confused, so especially
I just want to know
for new people.
how they're going to do it. How are they going to do it is the main thing I'm trying to, like, I understand like we could have different crew, like I could have a Ooster, Mud, and Oni crew, and they could, you just join that faction, and then
Yeah.
also if
It's like if an alien gets born in a different country.
But that's where it gets tricky with player profile, because you can have more than one account in your player profile. You can have assets in different accounts, and you can have policy stake in different accounts, and they all come together to your profile as your name in game and all that. And if that's the tricky part, is are you going to be able to have different accounts in different factions and still be part of the same profile, or not?
is Surge,
That's a good question.
yeah, like is Surge the next Surge? Let's just say the next Surge gameplay or whatever. Is there going to be a bunch of Oni with mud uniforms on? I'm just trying to.
No, that's like when you play Halo and you are randomly allocated to one team or the other, and you look like that team. But I don't think in those modes it's gonna matter. You're gonna have to be homogeneous within your peers, so you can who to kill and who not.
I think it's the first step. They simplify things like, okay, the human is going to be the mod for Surge in Unreal Engine 5, but then in the future they should make it that we can choose our race even if we choose mod or whatever. But they have to start somewhere. We have some comments here that I wanted to read. Sorry, guys. So Shadix was saying, I don't think there's burning involved regarding the crew cards for the leader, the faction leader, and then he said, and you won't need the anomaly for it because they are not part of any faction. Do you know about that? I don't remember anything about that, but well, interesting. And Virtual was saying the faction you're aligned with will not impact the selection.
Right. Yeah, that's to participate. He mentioned that when we were talking about the participation to get the faction leader. If you have your crews already, you are in the mod faction, but you can have your crews that you are using for that. They can be Oni, because that's what you need. 5 characters in each rarity of the same faction. So that's not going to affect. You can be mod and submit to get the faction. Well, I think.
Yeah,
We
that's
don't
what
have
I
a lot
think
of
too.
players.
Then PG said, but Danny told us that they could be all in the same faction. Okay. Yeah. They don't even talk about fitness app. Yeah, they don't even talk about the fitness app anymore. So that's kind of delayed. Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Because I think we have more important things to focus on.
Trying to get fit.
Otherwise I'm gonna have to strap my phone to my cat.
I have to buy a cat. Well, not a cat. Allergies are not good for me with cat. Okay.
Side note on that, real quick. I did
go
not
ahead.
hear Michael Wagner's cat that whole town hall. I think he did
That's a
not
good
feed
thing
that
or a
thing.
bad?
He didn't feed the thing since last town hall, I believe. So I would like to hear more of that cat just to make sure everything's all right over there.
I agree.
Yeah. PG
We'll
then
expect
said,
breaking news from HNN on that tomorrow.
PG said, I'm sad that they put racing on the side. Who tell them that racing is not good to bring more players? I said the same thing to Santi in the Spanish town hall that we had
Agree.
before. Yeah, I think they just saw that Surge was getting some attention, but they said, oh, nobody's going to the racing gameplay in UE5, but it's not the same situation because Surge was multiplayer and it was a big event. Everybody wanted to see a lot of people shooting there at the same time, but if we don't get multiplayer in the racing, then it's not the same situation. So you can't really compare. They should add some multiplayer, have some
Yeah.
tests, some games going, and then we will see if we have some attention or not. I think that's what we all really want. This is a ships game more than a shooter game. Even if we're getting a shooter as part of the game, but everybody is crazy about ships and buying ships since the beginning. So
It's not
I
coming
think
from Precision, but it is coming for Season 0.
I think they should have. I asked a friend. They should have like 10, 20 UE5 playtesters. That mode is boring because the bots are horrible at racing. So if you just had like all of us playtest or whoever, then they can find out, work on the physics because the physics are kind of funky in that mode. But that I don't agree. Yeah, I think racing and shooting should all drop at the same time because some people don't like shooting or gunplay. Let them race and shoot each other that way.
Patience. We need patience. It's all in the works.
yeah.
It takes to develop one freaking little stupid app to realize how easy it is to get lost in time with delays. It's hard.
With racing, you have R4 consumption. With Surge, zero economy. Well, they said that maybe they can tie some economic variables, rewards, or
Ammo.
something like that. Yeah, but yeah, maybe not at the beginning. And Wagner said that they need to check obviously some other variables and how it impacts the economy and so on. So yeah, a lot of unknowns there. But it could be possible that they put some rewards there or some ammo costs or whatever. The thing is, are they gonna do that?
Or weapons crafting. They could do weapons crafting. The only way you get a weapon is to craft it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, guys, we are over the hour, and do you want to say something about any of the topics, and then we wrap it up?
Well, I'd just like to bring up a couple community projects, Star Atlas projects. PG's game is live. It's pretty fun. There's a leaderboard. There's Zeely quests. You race and complete some tasks, and there's pretty wicked prizes like Polus, Atlas, Sandokan, a Mamba X, couple other things. You could also get Super Phoenix Dow cubes in that. Super Phoenix Dow is still minting. They are running a few promotions. I think you get yesterday, if you minted, you get entered into a white cube drawing, and anytime you mint right now, you also get put in for a blue cube drawing. They currently minted 1,829 cubes.
Wow.
So pretty exciting. That's quite a bit. Other than that, I'm good to go.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and check those projects, guys, for sure. So, Krigs, any conclusions?
Yeah, no, first, thanks for having me on the command deck for the first time. Townhall, I think, had a lot of good information. I think we captured it, maybe the expectations were a little bit off from the community, and, going forward, there could be slightly better communication and expectation management for what's going to be announced in the Town Hall. But with all that being said, right, the strategy for Star Atlas is clear going for the next 3 to 6 months. All in on onboarding new users with the viral marketing campaign sometime later this year. We've got season 0 coming up, preseason and then season 0. So I think there is a lot of things excited to look forward to in the UE5 environment. I think we'll see how Breakpoint plays out and where we go from there.
Cool. Don Carlos, anything you wanted to add right now?
No, that's it. I talked too much today.
You talk too much. Everybody talks too much here, and that's a good thing. So, Yoganact. Well, everybody talks too much except Yoganact. I have to pull the words from him. Any conclusions, Yoganact?
Yeah, I would just say onward. I'm excited about the UE5 space gameplay. The video from, I think it was last December, really helped rekindle the post-white paper feeling for me. This video did somewhat likewise as well. Seeing that no loading screens from orbit to surface, transactions happening on planets, it's awesome. I'm excited.
Awesome, I agree with that. I agree with you. Yeah. And Solas, anything you want to add? Except
Nothing really. Vegas meetup and EVO rare EVO conference in August. Shout out to Zamzor. I think he's kind of heading up the meetup. I believe there's a tentative place called Brew Dogs in Vegas for the meetup. No other info for that, but should be fun to meet everybody and hang out.
awesome. And by the way, you still have the chance to give it a thumbs up, give us a like, and yeah, I was just checking if Grist is here, but in the meantime,
I'm here.
you can subscribe. Okay, you can subscribe, guys, to the channel and follow us on Twitter, CommandDeck SA on Twitter, also enable our TV, and also check out all of our projects and guilds and Mod Empire. We are here from Mod Empire, but we are also part of the club, Bulk, Deep Prophet, and Nebular. We are part of Vanguard Squadron, part of the club. So the Hologram News Network, for sure. Don't forget to check those out. And go ahead, Grist. Any conclusions from your side?
Craig, thanks for stopping by. I just think a year from now, we'll be in a complete different place. By then, we'll have open access. I think this is a great move. It might not be great for everybody right now, but I think that they're really moving forward, and it's going to be exciting to see where we all are at next year. I think it's going to be crazy. We got to prepare for the sweaty Timmys to arrive and everybody else. So, you guys have a great day.
Awesome. And yeah, thanks, Krigs, our special guest today. So thank you very much for coming and for joining the conversation. And yeah, it was a great podcast and a lot to talk about. We could be talking longer, but we're gonna wrap it up now so that it's not too long. So thank you very much, everybody here with me. Thank you guys on the chat, and see you next time.
This is freaking awesome, man.
Right on time.
We should have went 2.5 hours just to mess with Townhall.